Well, good evening, everybody. You're probably catching the recording of this. Let me go post it on our website, and then I'm going to quite clearly need to fix some of the lighting in here. It's not good. So give me just a second to go post our link, and then I will get started with getting you guys loaded up and ready to rock. We're going to play YMCA tonight. This is a level 4 workshop for the Denver Guitar Orchestra. And link to join. Delete. Oh, God. Gary. Forward. Edit page. I always do this backwards. Slide down. Link to join. Highlight. Delete. Control V. Shift. Highlight. Link. Enter. Edit. Settings. Open a new window. Update. That'll get everybody in here for tonight. And let's see. I'm going to go mess around with the lighting just a little bit, so that way I look a little less like some sort of crazy person. Okay, so theoretically, if I click on this link now, it will bring me to myself, which it does. And so I can now close that down, and then the lighting's horrible. So I'm going to just leave this sitting here like this, and then I'm going to go fix the lighting. So I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. If somebody can let me know if you can hear me and the sound is good, that would be tremendous. Okay, that's lighting's a little better. Never know what this. The daytime lighting is easy. The nighttime lighting is impossible, right? So I have all these extra lights over there. Tonight, a full night of YMCA. That's what we're working on. It's a piece of level 4 music we've been working on for some time. And I was over at the studio this afternoon, and I haven't played this guitar in forever. And I thought, I need to put some strings on that anyway. So I brought it home, and I'm going to play it. It needs some new strings for sure. Rule of thumb, you have to change your strings every year. Hey Vic, welcome in. Hopefully the sound is good. Let me know. We were messing around with the tuning earlier, and so now it's a wreck. It's a beautiful sounding guitar. Hey Bill, welcome in. I actually like this guitar a lot. It had a buzz in it for a while. Sound is fine? Okay, good. I'm going to put a lot heavier strings on it this time around. Hopefully it's getting close to what you've got. Hey, Evelyn, welcome in. Glad you made it. Oh, we're up to 6 already tonight. Good, good, good. That's very exciting. Yeah, tonight is just another YMCA workshop. We're going to wrap. Well, I'll give you this. I'll make you this deal. We will be meeting next Thursday night, and we can either make it next Thursday, the last time we do YMCA, or the first time we do something else. And the two songs on the docket are Summertime and Moon River. And so we can talk about whether you're ready to move on from YMCA after tonight, or whether we're going to stick with it one more week. And so I'm perfectly fine either way. I feel like I've gotten YMCA to the point where I know what I'm going to do to play the thing, and hopefully you've got some general sense of how you want to play it. And one way or another, we will to make a decision tonight about whether we move on or not. And so last week we spent a good, quite a lot of time working through all of the details of it. And I don't think I have changed anything this week in terms of how I would play it. I think I just took my own advice and started playing it the way that we were talking about last Sunday. You guys can give me a general sense of how you're playing, if you're happy with where you are with your progress on it. I don't know if we're ever happy with our progress, but at least complacent with the progress that we are at. I like the tune. I think it's fun, and I think it, despite a couple of moments that are relatively challenging playability, I think overall it's quite fun. And I started doing measure 14 a little bit differently other than what's written, but other than that, I think I'm playing exactly what's on the paper. So that's my plan. We'll give everybody just one more minute, and then we'll just go ahead and get started. Let's just get started. What do you say? Maybe they come, maybe they don't. A lot of times at night, guys, we get people up, and I think the widget's here for you. We get people who don't log in, which is perfectly fine. If you guys don't want to log in, absolutely fine. You just can't use the chat bar. That's the only problem. And so I sort of am like, I wonder if they're getting any of this. So you're cool with what you're supposed to do, right? And we're and getting some pretty solid ideas about how you like to approach it. And we talk all the time during the week about, hey, play at your level, right? And so a piece like this, which to play it really fine, like, oh my gosh, that's good. It's a very challenging piece. That's what we want at level 4, where you have a piece of music that, if you love it and you think, yep, it's time for me to really become, this is a song that I really want to do, that you can pull it up to this very high level of expertise. If you're not into that song that much, there still gives you plenty to work on. And then, of course, if you are newer, hopefully every song I hand out gives you places of access that you could do. Hopefully all of you can play a melody with some amount of skill. And that, as I mentioned, in everything I do, I think playing melody on these fretted instruments is a highly neglected art. And I also think it's, without question, the most important thing we can do on these things. And so I think a lot of times when we are hanging out with other guitar players, they're talking chords, because the guitarists that stick with it have a tendency to be pretty good singers, and so they don't really need to know how to play the guitar completely. Whereas I am a horrible singer, and so I absolutely am dependent on this to do the job for me, which it will. I just have to get comfy with that. And so I'm hoping those of you guys that are newer players, you're like, yep, I'm totally getting the melody out of this thing, but I'd like to do more. I'd like to start adding in chords and combining that with the tough acts and seeing how much you can get out of that. Having said all that, the part that makes this song particularly challenging, I think, is the F sharp minor, right? This bar chord here. I don't know any way to make it easy. And I also know that you have to be able to do it. not only in this song, but in your guitar life. That's this shape is coming up a lot with this bar here, and then 2 frets ahead with that on there is really what it is that E chord, right? Which is that F chord, which is this. That's all you're doing is making this E chord, then turning it into an F chord, then turning it into an F sharp, and then taking this away and you got an F sharp minor. So, really just your E minor. It's easier than F, which I don't know, Bill. I would almost debate you on that. I think there's something about F sharp minor. I feel it's so gangly, and this gap here seems so important. I find myself even fighting my bar on that. But I'm happy that it's easier than F. I actually am. That's good sign. That's a really good sign. All right. My wife says I should not sing this, but I'm going to sing it so that those of you guys that are working on chords can do it. Let's play through it twice, and you have to tolerate my singing. And I agree, it's ghastly. Okay, I use the middle finger to help with the bar. Yeah, that's what I've been doing too, Bill. I think this makes a whole lot of sense, right? Just helps push your bar down. It's not doing anything anyway, right? It's just going to get in the way. So I just been tossing it onto the top of there, which I see all kinds of pros doing. So I don't think there's anything negative that you're going to be doing there. And then, getting here, I think this gap here is where the challenge is, right? You've got a lot of pressure going in here, so you've got to get this really solid, which then we have a tendency to tighten up here, and it makes it harder to get that gap. But yeah, you and I have come up with the same solution, Bill. That's exciting. All right, I'm going to sing, okay? We know it's horrible, but the goal here is to make sure your chords are in good shape, okay? Let me make sure my pages are going to turn in proper fashion. We'll play it twice through. So verses 1 and 2, which, as you know, go down to measure 8, come back, then go all the way down through 18, and then you go back to 10. You don't go all the way back to the top. And then when you're on this last time, skip 17 and 18, play into 19 and the last page. So a little easy to get lost if you're not really if you're not focused. Okay, and a lot of you guys probably have a page turn between 2 and 3. What I'll do when I get ready to do the page turn, when I play 16 the last time, I'll take just a little bit of a hint of breath so that I have my page turners hooked onto my foot pedal here. But a lot of you guys have to reach up and turn the page. So so just know when we get to the bottom of page 2 and we're going to go on to page 3, I'll give you a little a moment to reach up, turn the page, and do that. Okay, probably helpful. Okay, just chords. Okay. Let me put it this way. I'm going to sing and I'm going to play chords. If that's not what you're working on, don't play that. Play whatever you're working on. And if you are not sure what you're working on, play melody and fix my voice for me. Okay? From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy, young man. There's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there. And I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time. Rest. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. It's fun to stay at the YMCA. They have everything that you need to enjoy. You can hang out with all the boys. It's fun to stay at the YMCA, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. You can get yourself clean, you can have a good meal, you can, page 3, and go. Do whatever you feel, 3, 4. It's fun to stay at the YMCA, it's fun to stay at the YMCA. Okay. Yeah, I can't sing, but I can at least, my voice helps us figure out where we are. Big question, of course, came up today. Somebody said, and I don't remember which person said it, got lost, right? Big thing with this one is it's really easy to get lost inside of this one. The repeats up there, you can tell on page 1, the repeats are in and of themselves a bit of a part of it's too much, right? So I would, if I were getting lost in these repeats, which I often do, at the top of measure 8, write 2, number 1, right? And that will just help you remember, hey, when I get there, I go to number 1. Now, I don't do that the second time I come through, but the first time I'm going back to number 1. I would have above number 18, 2, number 10, so that I would know not to go back to number 1. When I hit 18, I'm going to go back to 10. And then I would also have, at the end of 16, I would probably write something like 219, right? But on the second time, 219 second time or something like that. So that, when you roll through there, if we're really not on our game, we can often get confused, like, oh, shoot, I'm at the end of that second repeat. Where do I go from here? And so leave yourself some chicken scratching on your paper to help you with that. The other thing, we haven't been playing this song 6 times through because, frankly, I don't think it deserves that. But remember, when you get to the end of 20, you can make that decision to go back and play verses 3 and 4, and then you come back through, and then you can go back again and play verses 5 and 6. So you really have about a 4-minute long song here if you want it, and then play it through as many times. You have to play it in multiples of 2, right? Either verse 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6, and then however many times you decide to do that, then 21 through the end is always going to be by itself at the end. So hopefully those repeats are making some sense to you. All right, let's play the melody. Okay, we'll play that one twice through as well. Okay, by the way, if you're not working on melody, if you're thinking, yep, I got to get my chords together, play the chords with me. Okay, well, let's play a duet together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Rest. Turn the page and and go. 3, 4, rest. Okay, let's go through it one more time. Let's just make sure that melody is getting as solid as we can. If you're playing chords and you're keeping up, or it's working out, that's really nice. One of the things, because I can't hear you, I'm hoping that I'm basically keeping a pretty good pacing through here. I think I might have sped up a tiny bit as we went through that time. And that's going to happen when you're playing with other people. And so melody is easier for you. Well, yeah. At this point, Vic, you've been around a while, right? And so hopefully that melody is coming through. These chords here on this thing are definitely work, right? And it's not that these are chords you're never going to need to know. These chords are hard, but they're definitely guitar chords that are going to come up. There's no chord in here, I don't think. Yeah, every single chord that's in this piece of music is coming up a lot in your lives. And so while they're hard and you got to work on them, I definitely think melody should be easier. And it's an interesting conundrum in guitar pedagogy, how about 99% of the guitar teachers start you off with chords, strumming, and singing. Well, that is by far, in my mind, the hardest way to get people started, and probably plays a significant role in why they quit. But if you can get the melody out, which is a lot, in my mind, quite a bit easier, you actually can play the tune. And then over time, we start adding back in those chords. For example, the beginning is. It's not that. Let me play it for you, right? At the beginning is young man, da 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 da. Well, in the beginning, now you can play the tune, right? You're like, hey, I know that song. I like that song. That's a cool song. And then maybe you can't play all the chord melody, but you could play that first chord, right? Right? So you don't have to play all the other chords, just play the first one. And then you got this big scary chord at measure 3, right, which is 4 2 2 2. Maybe you can't play that whole thing, but you can play the twos. And then measure 5, you've got that 2 3, but you maybe can't play the whole thing, but play the D chord. And so on, right? So you can get solid with melody, and then start peeking down at tough act and saying, well, I can't do all of that stuff, but I could do this. And usually the very first beat of a measure has some amount of chord added on to it. And that's not true of just my arrangements. That's true in all of music. Usually at the beginning of the chord, we get a little bit of a reminder of what chord we're dealing with, so we can kind of create the neighborhood for the rest of the measure. And I do think if you can get where you're playing melody effectively through these things, it will make you, it will lead very readily into the next piece of your adventure, which is adding in the chords to create your chord melody arrangements. And, I try to create them I want them to be as hard as possible for me to play, in the hopes that some of you guys that are a little bit better players, have a little bit more practice time, will take them and turn them in, say, yep, this is what he says to do. I can do that for sure, and I can do a little bit more, right? And so, I want my arrangements to be at my upper end, so that those of you guys that are beyond me can have a starting point to take it on to the next level. I'm going to change guitars because this has a rattle and this first or second string that makes me want to throw it through the window right now. So it's got a lovely tone, but there's some kind of a rattle, and I think that these strings are too light. That's the problem. That way you get a chance to see me wearing shorts, not wearing shoes, filling my belly up to the point where the COVID is going to require me to actually exercise. So, all right, melody one more time. Let's see it. Let's see if we can get it done. Okay, 1, 2, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. I didn't let you turn the page. Turn the page. Okay, from 19. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, rest. Okay. One of the things I'm noticing, and probably you're either super aware of it or not aware of it at all, but when you're playing straight melody, what happens is all of these other strings start trying to resonate with those notes. And so while you're a lot of times you're busy just playing your melody, just happy as a clam, but the rest of your guitar is going. And that's not ideal. If it gets really rough, you can take the heel of your palm here and just sort of knock down some of these lower strings to get them to shut up a little bit. I don't think I can give you a good example. If you just pick 2 strings, like put a 2 and a 0 or something. If you take your palm and put it on these lower strings, you'll feel they're also vibrating. And what's happening is they're just sort of just busy. They're happy. They're wanting to play along. They're vibrating a little bit. And what happens is the longer you play, the louder and more ornery they get. And so you may have to take the heel of your hand and just get a couple of them to shut up. And when you're playing on electric guitar, it's going to be much worse because your pickup is going to be magnifying that little bit of into and so when you play straight melody, you may end up having a challenge with getting the other strings to not play. And I think we talked about that last week, maybe just briefly. This business of how do I get these strings that are buzzing that I don't want playing? Probably the palm of your hand, just reach down, tap down, stop them for a second. It's a little bit like when you're playing piano and you hold down the sustain pedal. Everything sounds beautiful, blah, 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 until you get too many chords going, and then all of a sudden it sounds like this big train wreck going on. You got to lift up on the sustain pedal and put it right back down. That just stops everybody from ringing for a second, and then you can do that. And so I find that when I'm playing melody to be one of the more annoying things that happens. And you got to be a little careful because you want the heel of your palm to touch these strings, but not the strings that are actually playing the melody. Yeah, basically that's the problem, right? When you're playing melody, you aren't even touching these strings usually, these bottom three, or sometimes in this case we're almost hardly even touching the third string, right? Most of our melodies come in here, and so then we're occasionally pressing the three, but unless you are touching it and lifting up to get it to stop, it will just keep ringing right on, and you'll be like, shush guitar, shush. So yeah, it happens. That's funny. So and if it gets super annoying, just stop the melody for a second, stop this, don't do that, because you can hear that clunk, right? But just gently put your palm, the heel of your palm on those lower strings, and I think it should stop it. Okay, just like that. Okay, guess what time it is? It is time for Tough Acts. I'm going to walk through it again, one stop at a time. I'll be talking to you about what I've been doing, what I feel like makes sense the most, and then obviously you have to figure out whether your hands will do this and whether it's something you want to be working on. So obviously the first chord is wonderful. It's just a big old beautiful A chord, and then that thumb just drops down and gets that 2. Now ideally it'd be nice to have this top string ringing for a while, but in order to do that, you have to pluck it. And that's actually a very fun thought, right? To take YMCA, this disco standard, and turn it into a lute piece by picking the whole thing through. And it could absolutely turn into being one of those things where it's one of your signature pieces. Right? So you could potentially play it that way, and it would be a hoot. So that means you're just plucking everything, and that allows every string to ring out to its proper length without your thumb accidentally stopping it. Now, I have been not doing that. I have been playing just A chord and then hitting it with the 2, which causes the 1 to stop, and now 2 is my main note. It's not wrong. It's just in fact, it's exactly what the sheet music says to do. And then I've got this little bar 0 2 2 2 0. So by holding that A chord, the entire first measure is done except for the last note when I got to lift up my ring finger here. Okay, so do that first measure. And then I'm still holding down 0 2 2, so I can play the next few notes as well. Hit the open again, ring finger down. Now open's already open, and then that 0, I've been trying to hit that. That to me, that's the most important note in the song. Bong, just because it's not what you expect, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's on the beat. Is it on the beat? It's not even on the beat. I don't know what that's doing there, but it's fun. And then 2-0. So really, the first 2 measures, you're just going to have to make some modifications to your ring finger. Other than that, that's just waiting for you to play. Okay, so that part probably is something that most of you guys could knock out without too much heartache. When you get to measure 3, then of course this is one of the places where I'm fighting. I'm finding, get that whole darn chord on. And then you're going to be modifying your bar up and down to get the zeros. And it's not an ideal situation, but I think that if you love the song, this could be another place to really work something out cool. Okay, so again, the bar placement of the bar is pretty essential to get it right, and then to also be able to lift that bar up, to open it up, to get those zeros in that you need to get. And that's the challenge through measures 3 and 4. F sharp minor. Bum, bum. So all the way through there, you're fussing with the bar on the F sharp minor. And I would say it would be nice if this didn't come up in guitar music very often, but it comes up almost every time you're holding a bar, is you're going to end up having to hit notes behind the bar. And so I think again, an opportunity to practice that. If that's not going to happen for you, if you're just like, no, not happening, hit these three twos and then play the melody. Okay, that's it. Just play those 3 twos. Let me do it for you. Right, so you're just going to play all 2s through there, and by getting a little bit of a chord there at the beginning of measure 3, you don't have to get the whole chord. You could add a 0 in under that. No, don't do that. But anyway, if the full F sharp minor isn't happening right now, then go ahead and just hit 3 twos. Okay, so both of those ways of playing, obviously it's perfectly fine also just to knock out melody through there. Then you get to measure 5 and you're safe again. Okay, so measure 5, you put your D chord on. Again, strum the whole thing. Hit that 3, you're already holding it down. 0, 2, you're already holding it down. 3. I have been just fussing whether to slide my ring finger back to get the 2, or just adding on my middle finger onto the 2 behind there. It's smarter to not slide back here. It's smarter to hold your D chord, because when you get to measure 6, you have 0, 2, 0. That's a regular D chord, and it would be nice to have your index finger still where it was originally. So I'm thinking more middle finger at measure 5 is going to make more sense than sliding your ring finger back. So try that. Measure 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously another D chord. Then you've got 5, 2. This actually, when I first started playing this, was really problematic for me until I realized there's really not that much going on here. Get into second position. Now put your pinky on 5, index on 2. And then pick your index finger up, grab this 3, and put the D7 shape on. You know how D7's here, but put it on 3, and you're fine after that. Index on 2, open, regular E7, pinky on 3, ring finger on the 2. Hit that last 0 with some authority, because it's going to take your eyeballs a second to get back to the beginning. So let that be ringing while you then jump back up to the top. Okay, those are my suggestions of what I'm finding. Next thing, I hate that percussion 3, 4, but it's in the song. Okay, bum, 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 bump, rest. It's time to stay at the. So it's in the song, so it's here. I hate it, but what are you going to do? Find some way to tap your guitar that's the least stupid, and then whatever, and then make sure you have a rest. Da 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 dum. And my wife said when she hears me playing this, that's her favorite part. So dumb. So now we get to measure 10. Obviously straight melody through here. Nice bar chord on 2. Regular A chord. Roll down to get the 2. And I have been trying to do what the sheet music said, which is A chord, 2, O, strum, 2, 2, O, strum, O, 2. if you do that, it sounds the best. It really does. If you follow exactly what's on the paper in proper sequence, it sounds best. Now, you can get away with just hitting that whole A chord there and not playing the leading zero, but it sounds better if you do it that way. Okay, 13 is my bugaboo. And so I have to pull my eyes off the paper. I have to make sure my index finger is on 2 of the 3rd string and middle and ring finger over here on 5. Now, once I get that on there, everything's groovy all the way through measure 14. But getting this on, I find to be a bit of a nightmare. The reason I don't put a full F sharp minor on here is I have to have this 2nd string open. And the bar just gets in the way. So I've been doing this shape: 3, middle, and ring. Then you get that Y. Let's drum it again. M, open, C, A. Now my arrangement here says bum, bum, but I've been having a tendency to just hit C. YMCA, bong, bong. So I've been just sort of doing a 4 and a 3 in there, 4th string, 3rd string, and then leading up into da 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 dum. So that's the only thing I have changed and I haven't even written a note about that on my sheet music. It's just that I'm tending to do that because I think it sounds a little more interesting than blong, blong. Coming out of that, now I gotta grab 5, 2, 2, 5, 2, and this is a kind of a hard thing to do here. 5, 2, A minor shape on 3 with your pinky on 5. And this isn't too hard. 0, 2, 0, 2. 5, 2, repeat that same idea, A minor shape, pinky on 5. And then this is hard, I think. 5, 2, D chord, pinky on 5. No pinky, no middle, pinky, no pinky, bong, bong, or bong, bong. Okay, so in my mind, 13 is pretty challenging, and then getting on this A minor shape with the 5s at measure 15. Pretty challenging in and of itself through that section. The other thing, the second time through when I go to measure 19, I have to remember, because it's right after the page turn, not ideal by a long shot, that I've got this D chord with my pinky. You gotta let that ring for a second, and then it's a 0. So 19 does have enough difference to it that I can't cheat and use measure 17 to tell me what I'm supposed to do there, right? It's quite a bit different, and so you really do need to be looking at it or having that one memorized, that one measure memorized. Okay, and then exiting the song from 21 on is just more of the same, but at 21, at 25, just make sure you're ready for this A chord with your pinky on 5. That's going to sound awesome as you're ending. Okay, those are my thoughts. Let's play it through twice. Okay, from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. rest. Page turn and go. Rest. That's my thoughts on YMCA. The more I play it, the easier it's getting, obviously. And I don't think there's anything in here that's not playable or completely stupid. And I think the only thing that's stupid is that you are theoretically supposed to play it 6 times. I think that's way too many. But I think twice through is quite lovely and kind of fun. And I think by playing it slow and acoustic on a guitar, you get a completely different experience with that. And also, those of you guys that are working on your claw, go through and try the exact same thing that we just played, but do it with the claw. You'll get a more lute-like feeling to it, and it'll even feel like you're playing an older, like a super old-fashioned song. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's have a brief discussion, and those of you guys that are logged in and want to pipe in with your thoughts here, how are we feeling about this? We can do so. Next Thursday we will meet, and the Thursday after that we will not meet. And so, question for you is, could you use another week on YMCA? Are you good with YMCA? Are you ready to? You kind of know how you want to handle it and want to move on to something else. The 2 requests that I have are Moon River and Smile. And I'm fine with doing either of those. We've done both of them here locally, I think, but not necessarily you guys, right? And so I both of those tunes are really, really beautiful on guitar. Moon River I actually have memorized. Smile I don't have memorized, but I remember it being a ton of fun to play. And so if anybody has any particular thought on that, I would appreciate it over here, because you guys don't send me emails, which I appreciate in one sense and I hate in another sense. So let me know what your thoughts are here, and we will go with whatever you think is the best idea moving forward. Let's see. Evelyn would love to move on. Christy's ready to move on. Okay. Any other thoughts on that? Okay. And again, it's not really, what do I want to call it? Majority rules, but Smile is new. Move on to a new song. All right. Okay. So let's talk very quickly about Smile. Bill says moving on. All right. So you guys are ready to move. All right. So that's good. So let's use Summertime. Sorry, not Smile. Summertime. Summertime. And let me take a look, Evelyn. Let me see how hard Summertime is going to be. I think I have it in my book here. Smile, I for sure have. Smoke. Summertime. Be here. I didn't know I had so many S songs. Geez, I really do have a lot of S songs. Summertime. Oh, so this has all these non-standard chords in it, which will keep us busy. Guys, let's see. I think I have it. It's one of our duets, unless you change. Oh, is it one of our duets? Christy and I had this plan. Because we, in our locally here, have our guitar orchestra, and we usually get 18 people or something together to play guitar. It's tremendously good fun. And we had a really nice concert last year, and like I don't know, 50, 60 people in the audience. I might be exaggerating. 40 to 60, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so we had more people in the audience than we had on stage, which was for us tremendous. And played so well, just beautiful night. We were so excited about our next concert, and Christy and I were going to do a duet, not only for that, but then we thought, well, let's just get everything together. Let's do a full half-hour show, and we'll go down to a coffee shop somewhere, and we'll play together, and it'll be an opportunity for us to. I have all these levels, right, that I made up. Levels 1 through 4 aren't really made up; those are actually legit. Like, this is what you do. But then I had level 6, which is where Christy's working, which is, she's writing a lot of music for that orchestra. And then this level 7, where you become a teacher. And level 6 was where we were working. And part of level 6 was, hey, you need to go out and play for an audience. I mean, and honestly, I don't think that's an unfair thing to ask somebody who's an advancing guitarist to say, hey, go out and sit in the coffee shop, play for people, random people who really could care less whether you're there. Just go and do something like that. Don't go to a bar because they'll throw stuff at you. But, a nice coffee shop gig. And Christy looks at me and she goes, well, I'm up for that. When was the last time you did it? And I said, well, I haven't done it. So I went, after punching her in the nose, then we sat down, we began working on a series of duets. She was going to do some solos. I was doing some solos. We had some really nice duets that we were putting together. And I have that list somewhere, but when the world went to heck, all that had to get put on hold, of course, and I was just busy trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do. And so, in any event, Christy and I are doing this as a duet, apparently. And so, let's look at. Let me just see. I'm peeking through my notes on Summertime to see if there's anything that's just awful. Really, the only thing that on here that I am intended to take off was the ties between the notes on the tough acts. Everything else, I don't see anything that I would have changed. I had the chord part on this. Oh, that's right. Here's why the chord part is. See, she talks me into doing stupid stuff. On Summertime, you have augmented chords, which means that they're not going to be particularly pleasant. So it's actually a fun idea. So it's not a long song. It's 32 measures, and it goes on to page 3. Most of the chords are fairly standard, but there is an E augmented chord in there that's going to be really important. And the nice part about it, I think, the melody itself, I'm trying to look here. There's one place where it goes up, but for the most part, the melodies 1 and 3s on your open position. So the melody's not going to be terribly hard, which means those of you guys that are working on that thing can have a song where you sound really awesome. Da da dum, da 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 dum dum dum, da 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 dum dum, da 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 dum 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 dum. Okay, so it's a nice song. Is it on the website, guys? I don't remember. I may have pulled it because I think it might still be under copyright. Let me go check. Sometimes I decide 1934 ought to be on in public domain. Let me just go check. Let's see. Christy, you're supposed to be working on the chords. All right, let's see. Christy, I haven't been working on our duets, so let's see. I feel bad. I feel a little bad. I do.